When I was younger, I thought that I had everything figured out by the time I hit 40. Like stable life, great career, amazing relationship, settling down. But now that I'm about to turn 41, still learning, still growing, and still figuring things out, I realized something. 40 isn't about settling down, it's about starting fresh. Being 40 is a new beginning, not just the beginning of a new chapter, but a whole new book. And this got me thinking about something my mentor told me a decade ago. He said that every 7 years, we tend to focus on a specific type of question. So when we are little, around 0 to 7 years old, our favorite question is why. Daddy, why is the sky blue? Mommy, why does it rain? Why do I have to eat veggies? Why do I have to go to school? Kids are naturally curious about the world, constantly asking questions to understand why things are the way they are. From age 8 to 14, the focus shifts to what? What do I want to do when I grow up? What do I like or what do I dislike? Do I want to be a teacher, a chef, or maybe a singer? This is when we start exploring our interests and imagining the future. In our late teens and early 20s, from the age of 15 to 21, we start asking ourselves who? Who are my friends? Who do I want to hang out with? Who am I attracted to? It's a time of fitting in, finding our people, seeking out social connection, and figuring out who we are in the process. Around ages 22 to 28 years old, we started working and we begin asking when and where. When will I achieve my goals? When will I be successful? When will I get married, buy a house, or have financial freedom? Where do I want to work? Where do I want to live or settle down? It's a period of anticipation and ambition. Often there is this urgency to get what we desire and establish ourselves in the world. By the time we are 29 to 35, the focus becomes how. How do I maintain work life balance? How can I achieve my goals? How can I be successful? This is when we start mapping out steps to get what we want and make things happen. We start figuring out practical ways to create the life we envision, learning from different mentors and teachers. Then, all this comes to a stop when we start to approach our 40s. In our late 30s and early 40s, around ages 36 to 42, the focus shifts from how back to why. We start questioning our life like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do I feel unfulfilled despite my achievement? Why do I want this job or this house? Why am I in a relationship that doesn't bring me joy? It all doesn't make sense. This is a time of self-reflection when we start questioning if the life we built so far aligns with what truly matters to us. We start to ask ourselves deeper questions about purpose and meaning in life. Why am I here on earth? I've spent my entire life in a career, raising a family, chasing all this stuff. Is this all there is? You realize you're halfway through life and suddenly it hits you, you don't have infinite time, and there's this fear of wasting it on things that don't matter to you. Many of us go through some kind of midlife crisis around this time. When we reach our 40s, we start asking why and realize that what we have lived so far for the first 35 to 40 plus year is kind of wrong. The stuff we used to chase or want suddenly doesn't feel important anymore. Hobbies, goals, or interests that once interested us no longer do. Life can start to feel meaningless. It can feel like everything's falling apart. And some of us go through a big existential crisis or a spiritual awakening. But here's the thing, midlife doesn't have to be a crisis. It can be where your life truly begins. You see, ages 36 and 42 are such a pivotal time because it's the start of a new cycle. You are entering a new phase of asking why, what, who, and how again. If you take time to reflect on your purpose, your why, it will set the stage for the next 35 years. From 36 to 70 years old, you will revisit each of these questions why, what, who, when, and how in new ways with a new perspective and a new set of eyes, unlike what you did in the past. It's actually a chance to reinvent yourself, to redefine your life and your priorities. It's the wake up call you need to create something new, something that truly resonates with your soul. Everything you have experienced so far hasn't been wrong. It's just been shaped by conditioning. When we were young, we tend to be more impressionable. When we ask our parents why we have to work, and they told us that you need financial stability to start a family, and you will only be happy when you retire. And we believe what they told us as the truth at face value. The first 35 years of our lives, society, culture, parents, and people around us have a big influence on what we believe is good or right. But the next 35 years, you get to decide what is best for you and how you want to live your life. If you look at your whole life as a book, the first 35 years is just a section of the book. It's the exploration stage. We're just gathering data and information about what we truly desire. People tell us this is good for us. We try it and realize like, nah, it doesn't resonate with us. Then we know what we dislike, and when we know what we dislike, we know what we like. Our experiences are not wasted. The contrast we experience help us gain more insight about what truly aligns with us, with our soul. The next section of the book is about living your authentic life. Now you have all this information. What are you going to do with them? Are you going to live in regret, like asking yourself question, why did I waste so much time at a job I didn't even enjoy? Or why did I stay stuck in a toxic relationship and or bad habits? Are you using the why to attack and judge yourself? Or are you going to use this information to redefine your purpose, your life, and your identity? And take this opportunity to let go of bad habits, believe they are not serving you, and choose what you want to do with your life, who you want to become going forward, and use this time to reconnect deeply with your spiritual self. You see, the first 35 years don't define your life. Nobody will remember you topped the class when you're 7 or 8 years old, or the failed relationship you had in your 20s. The next 35 years is truly where you leave your legacy. It's like it's kind of like a recency bias, right? We tend to remember and focus on the most recent event, achievement, or failures. For most of my first 35 years, I'm just a guy with low self-esteem. That's how I used to define myself. But that's not the legacy I want to leave behind. If I continue to define myself that way, then I'll just repeat the same old story and living the same 35 years as before. Then it won't be a movie that's worth watching. And I understand sometimes it can be difficult to see the mistake you have made in the past. But you see, people in a certain age group, they are in a certain energy, and they may not be able to see past what they are focused on. Even if you have this understanding at the time when you are in your 20s, you're still not able to hear it quite clearly. For instance, I was talking to someone in the early 20s in the army during reservist a couple of years ago. He was asking me some advice about life, but his questions are very heavily focused on when. Like even though he used questions like what or how, like what stocks do I invest so that I can get quick highest return, or what is the job I can do that give me the highest income the fastest, or how can I get financial freedom the fastest. There is some kind of impatience in him of achieving the goal fast. And of course, this old man, the advice that I gave him, he's not going to listen. I can see from his face that he disagrees with the advice that I shared. Because my advice is more about understanding the purpose and why you want to have a job in the first place, or why do you want to invest in the first place, instead of like making the highest return or the fastest return. You see, that is the stages you need to go through. There are different kind of energy at different stage, and you have to move through all of them. Honestly, as I move through my 40s, I feel kind of excited like a little kid. It's the same curious energy you had as a kid when you were around 0 to 7 years old, asking why all the time. It also feels like being 8 to 14 again, dreaming about what you would like to do in the future and who you want to become in the future. The only difference is this time you are relearning everything about the world with fresh eyes. You're thinking about what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind before I leave this life. And this legacy doesn't have to be grandiose or huge. You just have to reflect who you are, your soul, and your authentic self. Of course, what I just shared is just a rough timeline. Each person's journey is unique. Some people may spend more time in certain phases than others. Others may move through these stages much faster. Whether you are in your 40s or just going through a midlife crisis, asking why you have wasted your life, I hope you see that this transitional phase is pivotal. It's a call to go deeper and to connect with your soul. Instead of judging yourself for the mistake you made, tap into the energy that you once had as a kid and reboot your life. Be open minded, be curious. Let go of what you believe you know about yourself and the world around you and start again. Don't wait until your deathbed and wish you had done things differently. I truly believe that life really starts at 40. Your midlife is a period of huge transformation. Finding a purpose is not always easy. If you feel kind of lost, watch this next video. I share how you can use your intuition to connect with your purpose.